Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm very sorry. We are very sorry for the delay occurred. Happy wish you and hope all are safe and good at your homes. So, today the webinar is about goal setting on the performance management by Srilal. So, on behalf of Best of HR Forum, I welcome Mr. Srilal and uh, I welcome all HR professionals present here for the webinar. Now, over to Srilal.
Thank you. And first of all, I'm extremely sorry for this delay. I was completely got held up with an office work, which I just finished. And good to see, say, 30 people here on this Vishu Day. And I start by welcoming you all. And I wish you all a happy Vishu. I hope this will be an exciting and very prosperous year, not like what we are seeing it now with the pandemic across. So hopefully things will shape up well and will be good for HR professions and professionals and say HR profession as such. So we'll start the session today. We are discussing about goal setting. I hope I'm audible. Can someone please confirm whether I'm audible enough?
Yeah, it's audible.
Okay. So I'll start. Okay. This is like a slightly dry subject. I'm not sure how you will be able to related to whatever happens in your company. I know a few of you are from SMEs and a few of you are from, say, multinationals. So goal setting process actually depends on definitely the company and the company values and how structured it is. So to start with, I should say, as the quote says, that without a goal which is being set, it's like you run for your life up and down, and you don't score. So we'll start with like an interaction. How many of you follow goal setting in your company? Say even if it is KPI based and if it is based on something else. Can somebody please tell me if you follow goal setting or you have a proper goal setting process in your company? Can somebody please start?
Yeah, boss, good evening. Hello.
Please continue.
Myself Shanjit. I am from KK Group, Naravara. Actually, we are food manufacturers. Regarding the goal setting, we can completely set the goals to top management only. But in the case of middle management and bottom line, it's very difficult to set goals. But in the top level, it's clear to us. We are following the KRA, KPIs, everything there. But in the middle and the bottom level, it's very difficult.
Okay. And anybody else who wish to add anything?
Hi, this is Shabnam here.
Please speak up.
Hello. So I'm from a creative industry. We work for game as well as animation industry. So it's a startup company where we have about 60, 70 people working for us. And the kind of goal and performance management system we want is not a regular smart fitment, but however, The goal of an employee should be on 4 different categories. One is on how technical the employee is strong is, and as an artist how good he is. At a leadership level and at a humanity point of view, how good the employee is, and what is the value that the employee is going to get to the company as well as give back to the industry. So basis on this, we are supposed to form goals for the organization. um, we can still follow the traditional method of following KPI, KRA, but for these kind of goals at a very a different perspective, I'm really not sure how this will help in the long run. But however, to start with as a startup, this would really be cool or impressing for other people or employees. But long run, not very sure. So this is my view on what we are doing in the current organization.
Okay. Anyone else on goal setting? Okay, so we'll start. See, today I'm just taking a basics or how to proceed with goal setting, and we'll just get introduced to a new concept which is called WIG, that is widely important goals. uh, and what to say, you uh, can say try to relate it to your company. uh, I'm not saying that after this tomorrow you go to our office and say start doing it right away. See, for goal setting to be effective, it's very important that it has to be a top to bottom approach. See, as an HR, yes, you can throw some light to your definitely key decision makers, and definitely you can make it a structured process. But please understand the initiative or the drive should come from the top management. Until and unless you uh, get that push or the drive from top management, whatever you do or however you do, whatever effort you put, that may not find the result that is required. So it all depends on definitely the key decision makers. If you have a process, you may try to relate to the big concept that we speak today. And yes, whatever we talk is like very practical perspective. I'm not looking from a futuristic perspective. It's like a key practical perspective what we are discussing. So to start, I should say why it is important. That yes, it ensures a clear line of sight for individual and team execution. It definitely motivates the employee that with the sense of achievement part. Helps us to organize our resources and time, and definitely drives accountability and ownership of it. So, if you talk about goals, I would say that basically we can cater it to three. That is definitely to your business. Business can be as your current business and future business, or how big you want to drive your business, or how aspirational fields or the ventures that you wish to start. Next is personal development goals. That this is one key area that we normally don't focus as HRs or decision makers. Whenever we set goal, it all are like say 1, 2, 3, 4, and all are based on our individual or day-to-day task or our task whatever we wish to achieve. So personal development goals we'll talk, and definitely from more holistic view, values, cultural goals, and definitely people goals. And whenever you fix a goal, the parameters that you may consider are say the strategic priorities. Strategic priorities in the sense how important you feel from a driver or from an executive level, how they perceive your business, or how they perceive this a priority to the business that they see now or future. Next is customers, market, product, operational excellence. How better output you can deliver from the current resources. Then high performance organization. How best you deliver. How you harness your competencies. How you get your team together. And definitely financial performance. All these financial performance, everybody are keen, but not on the other side. Um, and as I said, it's a top to bottom approach. So it has to come from the CEO through the directors and managers till the employee. And definitely there has to be a line of sight from top to bottom and some from bottom to top. A simple new joiner should know that where these orders are coming from, how he's relating to the company goals. That is very critical when you set a goal. Until and unless he or the base level employee get to know that how that particular task or how that particular goal is critical to the company, that may not get achieved, or he may be 100 times thinking that why this assigned to me, or what is the key relevance to it. We'll discuss that in upcoming slides. So this should be a top to bottom approach, and there should be a line of visibility from bottom to top. And the process, if you say, definitely the board of directors or the CEO approves the goals. Then it comes to the BU level, business unit level, with leadership team or middle managers, or say top management. Then this example, if you look at, it's a larger or MNC kind of goal setting process. So if you're looking at a company with 500 people or 1,000 people, then we can have, or we can look at a smaller
Sorry to interrupt, Srilal. Actually, we are. I think there is a problem. There is a disturbance in the network, in your network. Your voice is having some disturbance, and the presentation is not also visible, I guess.
A presentation is not visible, is it?
Yeah, it's not visible.
I
Yes,
think you
presentation.
already opened it. But you have to open.
Pardon? What is it showing?
It is
It's
just
just
showing
that
the
folder only.
file. Yeah, it's showing the folder. Goal setting, best
You
of HRs.
forgot to share the screen after that.
I've done it. Stop sharing is my screen.
Yes, all right.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Then I'm not sure
Yeah,
how.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was expecting that the slide is being played. I'll do one thing. Is my voice still flickering?
No,
No,
it's
now it's
fine.
okay.
Voice is fine, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So these were the slide. I was expecting that the slides are playing. I did not see the chat. Yes, Biju was telling that this is not seen. Okay. So
Are you in the first slide?
the first slide, you can
Yeah, okay, fine.
So the goal starts from the CEO through the directors and managers to the employee. So the employee should know that uh, the goal has come from the CEO, and both of them should have a line of sight when there is a goal which is being set. Okay, we'll be discussing this. This is what I said on a larger perspective. So for an MNC, if you look at the board of directors or the CEO approves the goals, and through the BU leadership and managers, it reaches the employee, and employee drafts the goal. Employee draft the goal. I repeat, the employee drafts the goal, and managers approves it, and it is being freezed, and later it is being taken over the review period, and it is reviewed in the midway of the review period or at the end of the review period. One second, I'll just stop and I'll log in, because the talking person is coming as Purnima. So I'll just stop and I'll roll back. Okay. Am I audible now? Better?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for the disturbance. So we'll go to where it really matters. Okay. We'll discuss this. Okay. As I said, we'll be discussing few basics. So whenever we set a goal, whatever you relate to your company, mostly say, especially when it is related to a sales unit or a manufacturing unit, definitely the goals will be related to the annual revenue, or the top line, or the bottom line, or say the quality standards, or say the scrap reduction or improvement of the financials. But one fundamental, if you look at, is 70 10 20 and 10 model. uh, 70 is definitely what is related to your job, what exactly you are required to deliver, and 20% should be near the job in the sense networking, conferences, your learning opportunities from the peer groups or the industry, own research, own initiatives may not be directly resulting to your job or to an employee job, but that can give him a T level of learning, like overall picture about his industry, what his peers are doing, how the industry is growing, that kind of learning. Until and unless from a company side you drive it, he'll not get it. If he comes to the office at 8 o'clock or 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, leaves at 6 or 6:30, definitely he'll be learning about your company and whatever you teach him, but definitely not what the industry is, or what your peer groups are doing, or what your company competitors are doing. So whatever goal you set, let that be any role, let that be any level, 20% should belong to whatever is near the job concept. I'll share this PPT. If you search internet slightly, you will get a better clarity and how you can relate to say a developer, a say architect level of profile, say um, analyst profile, or any profile. Uh, that person should be given a target or a goal which is not related directly to his job, but which helps him to learn and know what is happening in this industry, and especially the type of job that he's doing. I know many of you may think that there is a small risk element, but definitely if you look at the value part, the intelligence or the information that he brings into the company, that is very critical and very important. And that intelligence has to be passed through the manager to the appropriate person, and there has to be a reasonable track of whatever the person has learned. We'll be discussing that. So definitely 10% of whatever which is not related to job, but maybe his personal competencies, say technical skills, his training programs, all that should come to 10%. So whenever you set a goal, make sure that there is say out of 5, 1 is not related to his daily task or his core competency or KPI, which he's supposed to deliver at the end of the year. We'll talk about that. So there's a small goal planning exercise. Normally companies do it, say either financial year basis or calendar year basis. Calendar year basis, if it is, then the evaluation period is from January to December, and mostly Indian companies will follow financial year basis, so that is from April to March. So April, a new goal is being set. New ideas are being conceptualized for next financial year, and that is actually I should say tracked by HR. HR never fixes targets. Please understand, it's mostly with SMEs. All CEOs or all say owners of the company will ask the HR to fix target. I or whatever I have learned, HR should not fix target. HR say can capture it, can track it, but he should not review it. He should not fix the targets. So HR is a calibration person or a tracking person or the person who manages the scorecard. Definitely not a person who fixes it. Whoever fixes it should be the employee himself and the manager. Or if there is if you follow R1, R2 concept, say reviewer 1, and that manager is reviewer 2, then R1 and R2 should freeze, the goal, and the employee understands this properly. We'll be talking about the SMART concept. So first, HR will be initiating or HR should initiate the goal setting process, say clearly communicate what are the timelines and when to start and when to end and when there will be an evaluation. And based on that, the manager with the organization goals inform the employee, and employee should draft, or a manager drafts the goals, and both of them discusses, and there is an agreement with both of them and finalize the goal. And after it is finalized, it is captured, and whatever mechanism you have, few of them has ERPs, like we have a software called Workday. We track it through Workday. There are new low-cost models also. I think now all of the say SaaS model, HRIS or HRMS has goal planning or goal setting, annual PMS-based modules, and that is not that expensive also. If you are very dead cheap, if you look at, and if you are looking at a system which is only for goal setting, then it's difficult. But if you are looking at overall package, then this module is not that expensive. So I suggest you should have an external, not a pen and paper kind of methodology to track, because that becomes too much casual. This is what we have seen. So whenever there is a goal which is being set, the process of setting it sets the mood actually. Until and unless there is a proper mechanism which is driven by, say, HR or a third person, or say the top management directly for a smaller company, it will never work. So, if your company doesn't have a proper goal setting mechanism, please ensure that the top decision makers are made the key stakeholders and it is driven through them. But the HR is only a custodian or the reviewer, not the goal setting person. We'll be talking about SMART. This is basically, or say 99% of the goal setting process is based on SMART concept. If you're looking at a majority per se. So it, as it is well known that it is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and say time based or time bound. I'm not literally going through each word. We'll try to understand how that can be related to your job. So when there is a goal being set, till now we are discussing about goal, all that. If any of you can bring a topic, then or a business, we can relate it to that business and speak. So if anybody wish to propose something, we'll discuss on that, or otherwise I'll propose something from my own. Anybody has an example? Other than sales, no discussion on sales, because all are clear that any company, it's easy to fix concept on sales. Any industrial example you wish to take up, please speak up if you want to relate to any industrial example. Either all are sleeping or all are mute and enjoying their own.
Not about production, food manufacturing. Definitely, I'm from food manufacturing. That's why I'm asking.
Okay. What's the name?
Sanjit.
Shanjit, okay. We'll take up manufacturing. I'm also from manufacturing, so we'll pick one example from manufacturing. So with your example, so if you look at manufacturing, say a manager or an engineer, one goal which you can take up is scrap or the wastage of raw material or efficiency. I'm saying three different things. One is scrap in the sense, say if for you, say 1 ton of rice is coming in, and out from 1 ton you are making, say, I'm not sure how the equation goes, but say
that is actually around 67% of yield we make it.
Okay, so say 670 kg of flour is being made from 1 ton of rice. Is that equation matches? Does that equation matches?
Actually, in case of rice, we can convert 65% from paddy to rice.
Okay. So 1 ton of paddy comes in, and normally you deliver 670 kg of flour from it. Is that
Yes, right.
okay?
Yeah, okay, right.
Okay, so one smart goal which can be is definitely, one is you are relating to your current practice or current output. Next is having a data is very important in goal setting. Having a data is very important in goal setting, and this data generally is equated to last year's data. That is either YOY, that is year over year, or YTD, that is year to date. So, or say month to month or quarter to quarter, whatever. So we'll take last year's average output or the best output. Last year, 2019, the best output from paddy was 670. So for a manufacturing manager, his one smart goal can be increase that 670 percentage to 720. Say that is increasing 10% of the output. So that is a manager's goal, not down. So yeah, this KPI is identified, or this goal is identified by the head and passed it to manager. So manager's role is output has to be made 720 in 6 months time. I'm not taking 12 months time, 6 months time. So on the 7th month, the production should have 720 kg floor when 1 ton paddy is being made. So that is one goal, which when we break it up, say that should be, the goal identified should be a very specific one. So the floor, if I write thing, I'll write it down 1 second. Increase output, or what would be the right term, Shanjit, to increase output?
Yield.
Yield. Okay.
Yeah.
So increase yield of paddy to 10% from 650 kg, 670 kg to 730 kg. I'm just going by rough max. So in 6 months. So that is one goal. Normally, what companies will say that you have to increase the production or increase the yield, but it cannot be. It may or may not be judged, may or may not be evaluated. This 730. First of all, that manager has to agree that it is achievable. If the 10% is not possible, then that manager should tell the person who fixes that it is realistic only when I am given, say, 5 lakh rupees of capex which I need to spend on my machinery, or whether I want to bring in an additional machine during, say, at the time of raw processing, or I want to bring in another person in incoming quality who will be responsible to identify that right set of paddy, like that. So there can be a bargain at that moment, or before the goal setting, at the time of goal setting process. That manager can actually agree that, okay, I'll deliver this provided I have this. Once the goal is being set, say increase yield of paddy to 10% from 670 to 730 in 6 months, it is purely a smart one, which is specific. Then there is a measure which is 670 to 730, which is aligned to functional objective. That is, the CEO has agreed that I'll be delivering say 15% growth to my business. So 15% growth to my business directly is related to the output or the say bottom line. The expenses remain same, only the bottom line there is an increase. And realistic, yes, the manager or the employee has clearly said that it is possible, and there is a time frame. So this is what a smart concept is. Whenever there is an idea which is being proposed, converting that to a smart goal and giving a proper guidelines here is the HR role. So here, from our side, from a HR manager or HRBB perspective, it is your role to sit with that manager to change his target to a smart goal. Simple as that. The say the CEO or the chairman will be, or the person who drives it, maybe giving that okay, I need this much increase, but getting to a smart goal and getting it drafted and getting it to a proper place where it can be tracked is the HR manager's role. And any industry, any job, it can be related. Now we have fixed goal for a manager. Now it is very important that I cannot do it myself, because as we all know, managers are getting their things done or the tasks done through other people. So he has, say, 5 people, say 2 supervisors and one, say, automation engineer, 1 process engineer, and um, 1 assistant. So it's up to him to break it down and how he assigns to each of them. Say the process engineer need to clearly understand how he'll deliver with the old machine. Say his machine is, say, 20-year-old. Whether a process change is possible to get you the yield. Whether, say, the automation engineer task is whether there is an additional automation which can get you the additional yield. Like that, this target can be or must be assigned to the person below him, which is related to his particular task. Say automation engineer has to be given that within 1 month, new automation process has to be identified. And say, I can give you, say, 1 lakh out of that 5 lakh budget he has asked, 1 lakh I can give it to you to understand what are the automation processes involved. Make sure that within 1 month, this much automation, say the cycle time is reduced from, say, if now there are, say, 10 different activities, say for rice, if he is asking that chopping, digging, or whatever it is. So out of 10 activities with the same output, can it be reduced to 9 items? The automation process, if it is, say, 80%, can we stretch it to 85%? So like that, you should discuss to that particular automation engineer or the process engineer, get the new items done and give him the budget, whatever is possible. And the timeline that is given to him should be within that 6 months, which we have set earlier. And that is exactly how you pass down the individual goals from top to bottom. And the person below you should be clearly made understood that what your goal is and what your timeline is. Normally, if you give your timeline, like me, it will be 1 day after. So whatever you communicate should be with a small cushion. Simple as that, with a common sense. Simple. So the alignment is very important. Whatever you take, you pass it on if you are a manager. And if you're an employee, whatever your goals are, that should be aligned with the manager. It's not like you have your own agendas and goals and you achieve it, but your manager fails it. Then it's purely a mismanagement or mess up type of work environment. You should make sure that the entire team goals are aligned to your manager, and you discuss what are your priorities in your year. When are we going to end it? When are we going to start it? And when are we going to review it? So just an idea on SMART. I hope, Shanjit, I made sense with whatever example it was.
Yeah, right. Perfect. So one more doubt I am having. What is your suggestion on assigning or required to maintain KRI KPI for the bottom level employees?
What is your question?
It is required to maintain KRI KPI for the bottom level. employees or workers?
See, it's completely different, and I should say it's purely an industrial question. If you are asking from a manufacturing per se, what matters is a skill metrics rather than KRA or KPI. He should, or the evaluation should be based on the skill, especially from the time of recruitment, during his assessment, and when you look at his career development also. The key weightage should be given to the skill metrics. Skill metrics in the sense, if you are looking at a operator, how efficient he is in his operation, how much mistakes he does, what technical knowledge he has, if that is some certain values, or identifying the if you're just relating to this, what is the exact pagam, all that that skillness is what is important rather than KPI and KRI. For manufacturing units, for operator or for that sort of level, nobody fixes KRA or KPI. It's all about the skill and particular task that he is supposed to deliver, because it never changes. And one thing you can look at from a standard answer kind is job rotation and job enrichment. Other than that, having a specific KRI or KPI does not actually make sense other than a skill metrics.
Right, okay. Yes.
Any other questions here from anybody, or if anybody wish to take any other example? I hope I can move. Okay, so we have now discussed on an example. So whenever there is a goal which is proposed by an employee, the manager should review on based on 4 or 5 components. One is goal alignment, whether this is actually his job, or whether he is really supposed to do this task, or whether completing this task for him, whether that is aligned to my goal, and whether that is very critical. Some maybe a few of the employees may be very aligned towards creative side, say getting the perfectionism in his task, but that may not be really required for his task, and easily a standard error which can be applied. So that much, whether he goes out of track, or whether too much of perfections, or too much of critical things he is focusing on, all that can be allayed at the time of goal setting. And definitely achievement of each goal is within employee scope. So whatever he discusses or he talks to you should be like within his, as earlier said, his KRA or KPI. And linkage and cross collaboration within organization, within or across organization, is clearly noted. That if he is doing any other additional task, it should be clearly communicated to other cross-functional teams also. And if you look at the number of goals, few may be giving like this I'll do, that I'll do, this I can do, that yeah, also I'll do, like that. So if you're focusing on too many goals, nothing may not happen. So ideally, if you look at it's 5 goals or 6 goals or 4 goals. So in and around 5. Now, if you look at weightage, see, we have 5 goals, and when you are rating it, definitely at the end of the year, we need to rate him to a percentage. So how do you rate the percentage? How do you guide your manager? Because manager may be thinking that all tasks are important to me. Everything is important to me. So there you can really pitch in this idea that is urgent and important things must be given the most weightage. Say you have 5 tasks. In that, urgent and important has to have the highest percentage, say 30% of the weightage or 20% of the weightage. One is very important but not urgent, that can wait. Maybe not in this review period, maybe next review period, but that is very important. There has to be a continuity and he has to do that. Then the weightage can be slightly less. Then urgent but not important. This is what generally happens in most of the companies, that our managers will be needing this today. Like how I got stuck today. Not important but very urgent. Every one of you will be dealing this issue. It's very urgent but not important. This is where actually we as HR also get slightly confused, because it's up to the HOD to really understand whether that is important or not. Emergency per se, yes, we understand that the project may be very important or emergency, but from a costing side or from a delivery side, from a HR standpoint, we may not, even if we are business partners, we may not really understand. So this is a small critical area, but when you give weightage, then this should be the line, or this should be the order that you weight. Now, next is not urgent, not important, but down the line you may need. So that should be the least priority or least given weightage item. So out of 5 goals, when you give weightage, the number 1 weightage should be to urgent and important. Second is not urgent but important. Third is urgent and not important. And not urgent, not important, but he has to do it. So that can be, say, ideally 5%, 10%, 15%, and 20%. This is what normally is being done. This is another example. We have already taken an example, so we'll move. In this, re-engineering the product inspection process to shorten inspection time by 5% before 1st July 2020. So measure is decrease inspection time. Time is there, target is there, time frame is there, and weightage is there. So this is ideally a goal which is being set, which is purely a job related goal. Any questions? Any questions? This is slightly a dry subject. I normally take which is very.
Srilal, I have a question. As in, like, could you please tell me, like, how the individual personal development help in goal setting for the performance management? See, according to hierarchy, every organization has a structure. So according to that, we are having roles, responsibilities, hierarchy is defined. But do you think this IDP is having a influence in setting goals?
Excellent question. Actually, this is what my 70-20-10 was. See, whenever you set a goal, as I said, in the whirlwind, we are mostly aligned to the on-the-job or task-related items. But it's very important that IDP has a weightage or must be given a weightage in goal setting. It can be basically, most of the companies will follow IDP based on a competency, say strategic thinking, or say lateral thinking, or problem solving, or say team building, like that, whatever is very relevant to perform his day-to-day task. Like that, one more way to look at is to understand from his business unit head or line manager that whatever is really critical for his business or his line of business or his people, on that specific goals can be set, like minimum 2 days training program has to be attended, or say a particular certification has to be attained within 6 months, or say must deliver 2 hours of minimum training every month to so and so. Like that, personal development based goals also can be set, which is very important, not to that particular time, but definitely for his career path, to understand the succession planning, to understand or to develop organizational culture, values, everything, and definitely a, what to say, self-satisfaction kind of or ownership kind of feeling is very important. And mostly or most of the established companies definitely or must will definitely have one at least goal in every year, especially for key performers, especially for people who are being identified in succession slate. And yeah, nobody bothers also if it is not there. But if it is a high performance culture based company, definitely they'll have at least one in their kitty. I hope I have answered.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Any other question? So this is what I wish to introduce you today, because whatever we have discussed now is mostly general. So WIG is one concept that I wish to introduce, which is widely important goal. Widely important goal. It's very important or very say general to set number of goals at the start of the year. And employee sits together. They'll say that okay, XYZ, we need to achieve it this year. And for that you have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, like that n number he can speak. And if it is a not a people-oriented person, he can say that everything you have to do. So this big concept actually narrows down the number of goals and get you say 4 or 5 important goals. This concept says that not more than 5 goals has to be given. And the idea is, say, if you set 2 to 3 goals, definitely you can achieve 2 to 3. If you set 4 to 10 goals, you will achieve 1 or 2. And if you have 11 or more goals, you will not be achieving anything. The more goals, you have less focus to succeed, equal to focus on the important. That is widely important goal. So there are 4 basic rules to set WIG. I'm not saying that you should right away implement, but whenever there is a proper place to give your feedback, you can give this feedback of this concept WIG, which is widely followed. Many high performance companies does this, and whoever feels that there should not be like too much extraction of employees, they should be given equal freedom. They should be given clear guidance on what to do, how to deliver, and where they are going the company. Most of the companies follows WIG. So the 4 basic rule. Rule number 1 is no team or individual should focus more than 5 WIGs. That is, no person can have more than 5 goals. Whatever it is, it cannot be more than 5. The key is not to overload a single leader, team, or individual performer. Remember, everyone is dealing with the constant demand of whirlwind. That we are messed up with day-to-day job. That goal should not be your day-to-day job. Simple as that. It has to be, or those goals might be annual, might be short-term. You need to keep revisiting WIGs regularly with your boss and team. That means if you set it, that is okay. There is no hard and fast rule in the way saying that it cannot be revisited. Say if you set the earlier example itself, 720, in that you revisit whether 750 is possible or is only 710 possible. Like that you revisit, but make sure that there is only limited goals. Rule number 2 for WIG is make the WIG reflect only one aspect of your life, work. That is, if you are say very easy part is to relate to a salesperson. Like you're a sales manager and your overall target is 1.5 million USD. Your goal should not be, or your WIC should not be 1.5 million. In that, you should identify as a key stakeholder, you should identify which is the best business, say through margin or say future perspective or bottom line or top line, which is the best one, which will contribute to your 1.5 million target. For example, here it is 100k USD of product text. So for example, here that product text is not in your current sales, but it's a wonderful future opportunity, which if you have an entry this year, that can be wonderful for next year. So that can be one wig that can take. So to simplify, it's not the overall target, but a small portion of that target, which is very important, and which is like, definitely if you achieve that small thing, that major thing also should get achieved. Rule number 3 is what we discussed earlier. It should be linked with the organizational strategy. So whatever you discuss and finalize, if it does not meet the manager or the organizational goal, it is of no use. So that should be aligned. And next is SMART. What are we are focused? So goal assessment. This I think we have not discussed. So at the time of goal setting itself, it is very important that the evaluation method is also understood and communicated and freezed. In the sense, if for example, achievement of 98% flawless launch performance by year end. This slightly related to my industry, automotive. So if you're looking at the same example of 730, meeting 98% or 100% is outstanding, and say 90% or 95% is met, and below 80% is unacceptable. Like that, you need to, whenever there's a goal set, you need to clearly communicate to the manager that this is what the rating scale you will be discussing or will be evaluating at the end of the year. So that also has to be communicated, and this has to be captured by the HR or the scorecard which we are using for performance management, whatever we have discussed upfront. So whatever goal is being identified or freezed, it's very important that the mechanism or the evaluation criteria is also identified and freezed. And the assessee should clearly understand that, okay, if this is 80% or this is 98%, this is gone, I'm or finalizing, concluding that this goal is not met. So it's very important. This slide has slightly come off field. So looking at WIG, these are examples which I can relate to my industry. So a few segments, if you look at customers and market, that is one say area. Another area is production, another area is HR. So if you look at customers and market, these are few goals which are being given. That is deliver overall booking target of 20 million, create and implement a new customer engagement model, deliver booking target of 10 million. In that, in WIG concept, you identify only one, which is very critical, and that is being identified as WIG. I'm not going to read out each. I'll send you the presentation. So this is just a concept, widely important goal, WIG, which restricts the number of goals, but you need to identify the difference. One is writing down the goal is a critical thing in WIG, and picking one from that goal and mentioning that this is your WIG is the important thing. It's not like you pick only one and give it to him that this is your WIG that you should focus. No, you should ensure that the goals are written, in that WIG is being identified. So relating to your job, like 710, like that, there can be few more goals which are being identified, like as I said, yeah, improvement efficiency, or the efficiency 67% can be higher to 70% example. And next is the number of people used, say the value of production cost is, if it is that for manufacturing 730 kg, if it is say 1 lakh rupees, that can be reduced to 95,000 rupees. Like that, each goals to be identified and pick one. So that person is definitely going behind all goals, but among all goals, he is very sure that one thing which I am supposed to follow is this, or I'm very clear that my target for this year is that, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks I have, and others are goals which is there, but in that I should focus on these 4, like that. I hope I'm clear. This slightly a different topic. So WIG, getting into a smart role, achieving overall booking of 10 million USD, that is not WIG. WIG is when it is being cleared as increased booking of product X from 9 million USD to 10 million USD by December 30th. So this is the way that WIG concept goes. If any doubt, you can talk.
Yes, Srilal, one doubt is like, according to WIG, a person should not have more than 5 goals, right? But I saw a ratio regarding, like, if a person has maybe some 7 to 10 goals, he may achieve some 4 at least. So how this actually matches the WIG's ratio? So if
See,
we set
that's
5 goals for him, probably how much is he gonna achieve?
see, there are a lot of schools of thought, and these are very what to say relative terms that we are discussing. That if we set 5, he may be meeting 5 out of 5. If there is 10, at least there will be 5 met. If we make it 20, he may have 20 or even 4 or 0. So these are all relative terms, which purely depends on the type of industry and type of say your business strength, your core competency, that particular person's competency, all depends. So we cannot really say that if we set 5, he'll be achieving 5. This is just a concept. In that concept, it is mentioned that there's no point creating more goals. Make sure that you have less. And out of these less goals, he's being made aware that, okay, this is what your widely important goal is. So you are categorizing your 10 goals. Out of that 10 goals, okay, this is what you should focus. And this is a cultural or the difference in putting your seriousness of goals, that I should say. So out of 10, if you put it, how do you tell him that out of 10 you can achieve any 5?
All right. Okay. Thank you. And one more question. If you have a team, probably I think you will be having a team of HR. So the question to you is like, if you have a team of HRs, maybe HR executives or maybe HR managers, and you are in the senior most position. So how do you set goals for the HR people in your team? And could you please tell me a draft of flow of performance in setting
Definitely,
goals.
definitely. Yeah. See, okay, we'll relate it to HR. Say, I should say, setting target in HR is the most difficult thing. Maybe came across that. Maybe that is why. I have a team of 10. In that, we have specific managers, specific person for performance management. There's a person for CNB. There is another person for time office. There is another person for recruitment. So if you are taking your a particular role, say TND, training manager, uh, we can be identified like minimum 2 hours of training has to be given to all people. Or for example, 2019, the average training hours was 1 hour per person. Increase that 1 hour to 1.5 hours with respect to technical training. Or the training budget is say 10 lakhs. Reduce that 10 lakhs to 9 lakhs with equal number of training, or with increased numbers of training, or say deliver 2 leadership training programs to XY department line managers, or arrange product training. I'm just talking about training and development person. Arrange technical training for X team within X date, and complete the whole technical evaluation or PIP program within X date. That is only for training and development person that I am talking. You need to identify your yearly goal, and in that yearly goal you are picking 2 or 3 and assigning to that person. If you're talking about recruitment person, you can give n numbers of target, like reduce the um, uh,
Okay,
um,
so training and development, if we consider a training and development person, if as you told, we can take that example, like he have to achieve some 2 hours of travel, like training in for an employee. So if it comes like that, then his professional, his performance goal setting is evaluated according to the hours of training taken by the employee, or the effectiveness of training by the employee. How it is considered actually?
no, those has to be treated separately. Those has to be taken separately, because, say for example, we are in the automotive segment, and for us, we manufacture, say, connector for a particular product to Maruti. Just for example, Maruti. We supply to Maruti. And Maruti's basic requirement is that whoever is operating with Maruti's product should undergo 10 hours of technical training on that particular product. Understand? So the target given to that particular training and development manager is that X person or X division employees should undergo 10 hours of training. In that, effectiveness is completely different part. Evaluating effectiveness is completely different and cannot be compelled to it. It can be another way, saying that out of the trainings that you have catered, you should score minimum of this much training in the feedback session or feedback evaluation, or in the analytics part, you should score the last year's score. As I said, data is very important. Last year, our training feedback or the positive feedback was, say, 80%. Now you need to achieve it to 85%, like that. Both can be individual goals. It cannot be
Uh,
like, uh,
yeah, yeah, all right. Okay, so let's consider a situation where the employee is actually getting training according to the goal which has been planned by the HR, and he is getting training for, let's say, for 2 hours as planned. But the same another employee is also getting maybe from another department getting training for 2 hours, and if you see the quality of results from the employee after training, it may differ. So is there a part of a training defect or maybe a employee defect? How do you actually measure it when it comes to a discussion, or maybe when we as a HR, when we see that as a defect, how do you consider which part should be improved? The employee part should be improved, or maybe the training part should be improved?
Uh,
What do you suggest?
Question. See, I should see the other side of it. See, you should really understand what training also, because see, for us, if it is a safety training, that is also training. If it is a technical training, that is also training. If it is a motivational training, that is also training. If it is a soft skill training, that is also training. And the rating that each people give, maybe the format of evaluation we see, the rating that a person will give will be based on the definitely the trainer part, and say the content part that we take, and how much he related to the subject. So it definitely differs. And here, the HR training and development person should not be evaluated based on her training per se. That should her evaluation should be purely based on her individual goals. Whether she has whenever that I'm linking to previous example, she is supposed to deliver 2 hours of training for X team. In that, whether she has delivered 2 hours, if 2 hours, then met 100%. If that is 1.5 hours, then she's into say average. Or if she has not met even 80%, then she is like not met that particular competence. Like that only on goal setting we can evaluate. Evaluating whether the effectiveness of one side of people are getting other different training, and other department getting different training, we cannot equate that to goal setting part. That is what I feel, and it's completely a different subject, I feel. And
Thank you so much.
And Swati, I believe the training part definitely depends on the calendar that you set, the priorities that you have for that particular team. And it's not about for a name per se that you complete the training. Whatever training you focus for a team should be reflecting on their personal development, on their professional development, and definitely say the retention or value addition to the company and the culture. So whatever you said should be based on it. If it is not effective, understand that where it is lacking and change it or modify based on the requirement. That only I can say. We cannot link it to goal setting. That's what I think.
Thank you, Srila.
Sridhar, can I add something on this?
Please.
Yeah, so this is Prem. So here, this what Swati just asked was something which we went through in an IT company. So we made it very clear that the goals for the HR, like what we discussed, is very clear, how much training hours per individual. But what is the performance of each of the individual is the goal for that individual. Okay, how much they should achieve if they are supposed to do error-free, what do you call, application, then their error-free application beyond 80% is considered acceptable. Less than that is not considered acceptable. So that is a goal for the person who's got trained. Okay, so they have a different evaluation. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Prem. Thank you, Prem.
Thank you.
Should be that criteria should be set at the time of goal setting, and that should differ based on the competency or professionalism or the expertise that us Prem said. Okay, and just a summary on process cycle on way up to 5 goals. Oh, there is one example. So this example is of Sarah. Sarah has to deliver revenue of 1 billion. Say another target of account booking of 10 million. Another goal of meet booking plan for Asia of these all are related to my industry or my company. So it's all in dollars and region specific. So and expand the electrification portfolio in ABC client to 50 million. Like that, say as Swati said, we have say 8 or 9 competence goals. Out of that, the critical 4 are being chose as vague and made to a smart goal kind. Simple. There has to be a measure. There has to be a target. There has to be a measurement. So this is an example. You can try to relate to your kind of business, your kind of work, and I believe that we can write it for everyone, each and everyone. And if there is any doubt, you can ping me in person. Also, I can help you with goal setting. So just a wind up on the process cycle. So focus on 5 major goals, should not be daily tasks. And once you identify, freeze the goals, then you should have a frequent and ongoing conversation. It has to be a structured way. It has to be a structured one. It can be monthly, it can be weekly, it can be based on the seriousness, it can be quarterly, it can be half yearly. There has to be a frequent checkpoints where to understand whether he's on the job or whether he's up to mark or whether he's really bothered. Next is year-end summary. Year-end summary, we generally call it as annual appraisal. We always are bothered about last part only, and we never set proper goals. So year-end, we review him based on what he has delivered, how he has delivered, and based on the weightage, we take that achievement to the PMS part, performance management or merit appraisal or merit increase that we call merit part. And every year you can focus on how to enhance the user experience. As I said, paper and pen are long gone. There are lot many tools which are freely available. Not freely, but very limited expense. That you can try it out. We have a software which is called Workday. Very good software. There are few individual ones also. Indian, even Kerala has a lot of vendors who are into performance management and people management. So this is what I wish to do or wish to appraise on goal setting. If there is any thing anybody wish to add, please. Any questions?
Oh, thank you, Sriraj. You've done a crisp job, although it is a very wide topic. It is very difficult to get goal setting done, and it's more of a skill for a HR guy to get it moving. He drives it actually, like you said. Yeah, so that is a skill for the HR in goal setting, how to drive it.
Correct. Very true. Those who have really those who have taken some pain on this part will really understand how difficult it is. And the most difficult part is to align all departments at one go. Because few may be very good in execution, but they'll not be bothered about how we need to track it. It all depends on the organization values and culture and how they really wants to take people along and not really focused at business goals alone. So as somebody asked, personal development plans, cultural goals, value-based goals, all are very critical when you look at people and when you are really intended or really interested to invest in people. So take some time. It's really a great experience or great learning from an HR perspective. It's time for year goals. This is really a challenging period which we are all going through. So I hope you will take some effort to make your PBP a structured program, which starts with goal setting. You understand? The PBP part we have not discussed. Only the starting initial milestone, which is goal setting, that we have discussed. Please try to relate. Please go back, sit, take some time, understand, evaluate, conceptualize how you can relate it to your business, and that is exactly a core HR kind of value addition that you can provide to your company. And I thank all of you who have joined. It's a sleepy subject, I know. Please read about WIG. Please get back to me if you need any clarification. I'll be happy to support you with whatever live examples I can give. And I should really say that sorry for making you all wait. And thank you. That is from my side. Over to you, Vijay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Srilal. And I am really happy that, this is a very crucial time to set performance goals, because companies are in a very crucial situation. So in order to push up all those things, this topic is really, I think that this topic would have helped many in this webinar. So thank you so much, Srilal, for giving wonderful insights regarding performance uh, goals, and thank you everybody for taking your time to participate with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, boss.